Hey YouTube. I hate reruns. Well, not literally. Um, I hate repeating myself about things. Well, I hate repeating a rant. My rants feel much more sincere or heartfelt when it's fresh, you know. I'm digressing. Anyway, I did a rant earlier today, a couple hours ago, and I'm not sure if any of it came out, if half of it came out, or all of it came out, because I think my head cam died when I was ending it. So, you know, that's the dilemma, and I won't know if anything came out until I get to my apartment and get on my computer, which may be tonight or tomorrow. So that's why I'm maybe repeating this. Man, I hate repeats because it's not the same. It's like, you know, I don't know how comedians travel and tell jokes, because some things are funny, but it's just like repeating the story. It's, I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know. Anyway, I was going to title this video Idiot Mittens. And I still may title it Idiot Mittens. And if any of you don't know what idiot mittens are, I'll tell you. Years ago, when parents, the mom or the dad or both or whatever, would send their kids off to school in cold weather time, you know, parents often would put gloves or mittens, you know, on the hands of their kids to protect them from the cold. And I was no exception, even though I grew up in Cali and the rest of my family grew up in much more colder climates. New York, Virginia. Yeah, okay, so yeah, Mom would give me these mittens to put on when it was cold and I would go to school. I would often come home missing one or both of the mittens. I'd lose my mittens, okay? Sometimes I'd be lucky and just lose one, which didn't serve a whole lot of good, because now you have just, you know, I have two hands. So, and I didn't even know about, well, no, never mind. That would have taken care of one hand, but that didn't come till way later. Yeah, idiot mittens, okay. Idiot mittens is something to combat against the kid like me who loses their mittens. And what it is the parent would put the mitten on, one mitten on the child, and sew a string of yarn onto the sleeve of that little mitten, and then put the mitten on the child and Mom would actually have to run or thread the yarn up the sleeve of my shirt, up the sleeve of my jacket, around my neck, down to the other sleeve, to the other hand. And on the other hand would be the other mitten, and that mitten would be sewn in to that string of yarn. And thus, idiot mittens, okay? Why are you looking at drones, hearing about idiot mittens? Well, I'm Mark, man. Over a year ago, I started ranting, and I still feel the same way. I think it's a really messed up business practice for the drone manufacturers to sell us quadcopters that come paired off with a controller. And later on, they sell the controller as an optional accessory, as something that you can buy, but you cannot buy that quadcopter as an accessory. You have to buy the set. You know the story. You know what I've gone through, and you know how I get on them. You know, MJX right now, they should sell bugs without the controller. If they sell any bugs, as far as I'm concerned, well, you know how I feel about bugs. That's another rant. Okay, so yeah, I rant about them selling controllers and not selling quads. And I even joked and made a joke video about my quadcopter actually sprouted wings. Or no, my controller sprouted wings and actually flew away. And I was being sarcastic, facetious, I don't know what you call it. You know, I mean, who loses controllers? We lose quads. We don't lose controllers, right? So why do they sell us controllers? Anyway, that was my whole platform on that gripe. Well, leave it to me. In the interest of, I don't know how you pronounce that, but in the interest of transparency and being honest and forthcoming, only me could go for a flight and have a successful flight and land my quad and lose the controller that I was using for the quad. Yeah, that's right. It took me, what, a half hour to explain. I flew the Bugs 2 last night in the shopping center parking lot just for a minute, and then some guy came over, struck up a conversation with me, and it got cold, and it got to running my mouth, and blah, 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 and wouldn't you know it, I drive away all willy-nilly without my Bugs 2 controller. And on the controller was my modded light, extra battery, a 2-cell battery for the controller, a 1-cell battery for the modded light, and it had my 808 keychain camera. And my real one. Because I have a fake 808 and I have a what I consider to be a real 808. And wouldn't you know it, on that controller was my real 808. And I drove off, and it was midnight. The guy that I was talking to, I do believe works that parking lot. So I went there today, and they recognized the guy. He's actually South African. It's a white guy with a heavy accent. I thought he was from the UK or like Liverpool or I thought Welsh or something like that. And when he said no, he's not from the UK, my next guess was South Africa. And he said, yeah, South Africa. Yeah. So that's how the conversation started. I guess he may do security there at night, but he wasn't in uniform. But I heard the radio, you know, and he was real friendly and everything else. And at a point, like almost too talkative, like I felt like he could dude, I'm cold. I'm trying to get back in the car now, you know. And yeah, I drove off, left the controller. And this guy may not be back till Sunday night around midnight. I'm gonna go back tonight around midnight to see if he's on. But I talked to security today. They said they recognize the guy and he does work there. So that is promising. Maybe he saw it. Because, I mean, I left it there in the middle of the parking lot. You know, I mean, but my hands was full. I was cold, and I was talking to this dude, and I just ended this flight, and, you know, I picked up my bugs from the ground, and I just assumed I put it in the trunk. And, you know, he started asking me stuff, and he was talking about FPV, but he didn't know he was talking about FPV. He kept saying, man, it sure would be great if there was a camera that could be on the bird that could actually show the pilot what the bird sees. And I'm like, oh, dude, it's done. It's been done. And so I just went to show him my Osenma so I could just turn it on and so he can see himself through the FPV. And in that whole forward motion, or that whole activity and all of that, I must have just drove off and left my controller, man. Trip out. And the trippy part is I missed the memory card. That's funny. You know, I started going through that halfway through my whole career of losing quads, which I'm sure is not over. Halfway through that, I kind of stopped mourning the loss of the quad itself. And I feel the separation of, like, for instance, the asshat. If something did happen to it and I lost it, other than mourning the loss of the actual quad, the board, and whatever, I lose it. It hurts because it's, you know, something that I sort of made. I didn't create it, but you know what I'm saying. It evolved from me. It's not just something out of the box. And so now I think, like I said, halfway through the career of losing quads, I miss the add-ons more. You know, I miss the cameras. I miss the LEDs. I miss the memory cards. You know, and I'm so, well, you know my track record. If you've seen any of my videos, these things, their days are numbered. Always, just being in my collection, you're probably gonna, you know, see some unfriendly circumstances. But I miss the memory card, is what I'm trying to say. You know, it's not the controller per se that I miss more than, or even the camera, the 808. It's just the one or two little flights which only showed telemetry. I miss that, man. And that's a trip, you know. And this pain will pass. I wanted to close on this if my camera is still rolling. The news was on, hell, about 10 minutes after I realized that I lost the controller. And you know, I just heard a quickie, you know, quick blurb of the news, and I hate the news. I'm not going to go there. Anyway, the news was on, and 2 people were in an accident, and it was a car crash, and it was fatal, and these 2 people died. And, you know, they didn't wake up that day, today, whatever, thinking that they were going to be in a car crash and die. So, you know, in the large scheme of things, you know, a lot of people die, we all get sick and all that old shit. But, you know, here I am, a little bit butthurt because I lost my controller and my camera, and, you know, I feel kind of like a moron and all that. But in the bigger picture, some other people died in a car crash, man. And I'm okay. So, you know, we take away from that, be grateful for the little things and the big things. And my car's out there. And even though I need a car, I need another car, my car's there, my baby. And it's, you know, every time I take my eyes off of it, I stress out until I get back to it because I don't want it to get stolen or anything. And, you know, but for now, it's here. And I'm grateful. So, yeah. Good times, guys. I got a Bugs 2 controller because I had an extra Bugs 2. I don't remember if it binds to the bird, so that's where I'm headed now to go outside and make sure it binds and do all that. Alright? Peace. Thanks for putting up with me, and we hope this thing kept going.